Hello everybody, it's Zeidoktor here, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is going to be dedicated to Attack on Titan, Chapter 89, sorry, misread that, Chapter 89, Meeting. We're starting in the cells with Eren looking out at Hange, I don't know what Hanji, I'm going to say Hanji, I think that's what it was, Levi and Armin. Hanji is questioning about the Attack Titan. Like, he's trying to deny he said anything about the Attack Titan, but it's like, Hanji's like, come on, you saw that, didn't you? See? What were you doing, Eren? What was it? Eren's trying to downplay her, like, nothing. I mean, it's the name of the Titan that you inherited from your father, right? Why are you talking to yourself even though no one is around? Like, Levi tries to shut her up, like, he's 15, everyone has a phase like this. What do you mean by that, a phase? I never had a phase where I muttered to myself all alone while glaring at the sky. Look, I'll explain later, so just stop talking about this in front of him. Though I'm not sure how well I'll explain. Eventually, Eren's just like, what are you here for? And Levi's bringing him out. Of course, this confuses Eren because he still has about 10 days left of punishment. You're done. You just got all 10 days worth from Hanji. And Hanji's like, what could I have said so bad? That was that bad to hear. Like, Levi is pointing out that making an example of people through discipline, even if it's for show, is important to any organization, even if that organization is just 9 people. Still doesn't mean we can ignore what's going on around us. We've talked to the commander, and they've already raised us with the commander-in-chief. We asked him just what kind of example we'd be setting by jailing the hero who took down the armored and Colossus Titans, and he agreed. Plus, the officers who you disobeyed are idiots who let the armored and beast Titans get away. But Eren's like, no, that's not. But Levi cuts him off. In other words, the Corps isn't in a place to be punishing you two right now. And then we see Mikasa come out of her cell, and even though she apparently had plenty to eat, Eren knows that she's lost weight. And Armin's kind of looking at her with some concern too. So he is kind of looking, he's kind of sorry right there, like, ugh. Of course, they want him to get dressed right away because they have an audience with the Queen. And indeed, we come to Historia, who's reading over a letter that was apparently delivered from Ymir. This is something I had to have missed at some point because I don't remember them getting a letter from Reiner at all. But whatever. That's how it's implied that they got it, but whatever. We have a letter here from Ymir. My dear Historia, Reiner is standing to my side. He's catching glimpses as I write this letter of my love for you. What a creep. He's never getting a girlfriend. But he did promise me that he would deliver this letter to you. He says he wants to repay me for saving them that day. And I'm sorry for what happened then. I never imagined that I would ever choose them over you. I'll be dead not long after I write these words, but I don't regret anything. I didn't have a name. I don't know who my parents were or where they came from. My earliest memories is of being one beggar among many. But one day a man showed up and gave me a name. Ever since then people called me Ymir. You may not think it's much of an unusual name, but all I had to do was take it, and then I was given a fine bed and fed meals. That wasn't all. Those adults who, until then, acted like I was invisible all got on their knees and revered me. As for the man who named me, he began to dress me more and more extravagantly, and as he did, he grew happier. Oh, I'm sorry, he began to dress more and more extravagantly. I'm looking at Ymir like in front of a crowd and dressed nicely as I say that, so I think it's my little slip there. Anyway, she felt good about that. I felt good too. All I had to do to make everyone delighted and happy was play the role that I had been given. That's what I believed. And that's why I kept playing the part of Ymir. People had started to call me the devil before I knew it. But still I kept playing the part of Ymir. The man who had given me a name and claimed that I tricked him. Who gave me a name and claimed that I had tricked him. Still I kept playing the part of Ymir. I thought if that's what would save them, I would be fine, but there are some people in this world who have rocks thrown at them for nothing more than existing. As their symbol, I was stoned from head to toe. It seems that in this world, it doesn't mean anything in particular that a simple chunk of flesh can scream and flail. And as we get into this narrative, we see her like exactly that, being dragged along, being stoned, and then being given the Titan injection, being tossed over the wall. No, it does not mean a thing. That's why I think the world is so incredible. And as we get this narration, we see her Titan form devouring one of the Titan shifters, Bertold and Reiner's partner. It was like Martel or something. Um, and then we see her like waking up after doing so. Like, I opened my eyes again, and spread before me was freedom. From there I began to walk, and I lived the way I wanted. I have no regrets. Or so I'd like to say, but to be honest, I do have one. You and I still aren't married. Ymir. Historia looks the letter up and down. It's like, that all there was? Hanji knows that yes, and that she was sure Ymir wouldn't be able to write down any information that could be useful to them, but wondered if there was any kind of message that only Historia might understand, a code or something. But Historia's got nothing. And doesn't think she'd have done something like that. What an idiot. So Ymir, you were an idiot. You played off the moment you feel embarrassed. How am I supposed to understand like this? And at that point, everyone's brought in. We see Levi, Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin all in uniform. They bow and greet Historia. She knows that so much happened to them while she was just watching from the south sky from inside the walls, but Armin notes that for her, surviving is also an important job. Of course, she's glad to see that they're all kind of steady and the same, but it's like, I think it's because none of us have really felt it yet. And we see everybody sit down, start a meeting up. The survey corps is kind of lined up in nine seats in the middle, except for one seat's empty because Sasha is still in the hospital. And we pretty much just get a rundown of what we've seen here. The individuals in this room are currently the only ones who know about the existence of these 3 books: The Early Life of Grissa Jaeger, Titans and Everything Known of History, and information about the world beyond the walls. They are the fruits of the efforts of the 9 Survey Corps members with us today, and the 199 members who are not. Damn. Their heroics deserve to be praised for millennia to come. A place to do just that, as well as to bury the fallen, will be established at a later date. And this pretty much like one of the head guys is talking. It's like, but for today, I would like for us to sort out our current situation here in the presence of the Queen, as well as for us to come away with common intentions. And then they have the new commander, Hanji Zoe, come up. What do you make of this? And Hanji explains that in exchange for the loss of many heroes, including Erwin Smith, the Survey Corps were able to successfully retake Wall Maria, defeat the Colossus Titan, and take its power. However, we as walled humanity continue to be in an extremely dangerous situation. How lucky we would have been if those monsters we call Titans were our only enemies. However, the true identity of the enemies we face are men. And Aaron's remembering back to Ymir saying that their enemy is, if I had to say who our enemy was, like, the world. And she's saying that Hanji's saying the same thing. Like, the true identities we face are men, civilization, and, if I must, the world. According to those notes, the people inside the walls are the subjects of Ymir, a special race even within the country known as Eldia, who are capable of becoming Titans. These subjects of Ymir once ruled the world and could possibly rule it again. That is why the world attempts to eradicate us, the subjects of Ymir. And we cut back to Aaron and flashback to the Owl and Grissa. If the founding Titan falls into Marley's hands, they will no longer have any use for the Eldians in the internment zone, spelling the end for all Eldians, whether on this island or the continent. And the Owl goes on that what Ghost said was a fact. From long ago, Eldia has used pure Titans as cheap weapons of destruction. They are now being used to cage the indie Eldians on this island, preventing them from freely venturing past the walls. As long as the founding Titan does not control them, they cannot follow any complex orders. However, once they are set loose, they become fearless and are automatic tools of mass slaughter. Any Warcraft fans out there, think of the difference between the Scourge running wild and the Scourge under the command of the Lich King, and you've kind of got the idea. Both are dangerous, but in their own ways. But the situation has gotten to be too much for them too. Marley cannot carelessly draw close to the island either. The only reason they've kept so many Eldians alive inside the internment zones is because for each living Eldian, that's one more pure Titan they can add to military forces. Of course, Marley wasn't a monolith. For the most part, people believe that it's better to slaughter us all than turn us into difficult-to-control weapons. Marley has set that discussion aside, but someday they'll come back to the island seeking resources and try to take it. And develop it, and they'll need to eliminate all of the pure Titans. If they get the founding Titan, held by the King of the Walls, discussing regarding the continued existence of Eldians will surely be set up again. as he explains, that Marley is kind of in a situation where they can either use the Eldians as military personnel or eradicate them, one or the other. But Grissa is wondering about the King of the Walls. Like, he would never allow that. The King of the Walls won't fight. If Eldia decides to raise the world once more, we will perish as were meant to. It is pointless to try to take the Founding Titan from me. I have made a vow with the Founding Titan renouncing all war. That is what King Fritz, the 145th king, said to the royal family on the continent before closing the gates of the walls. Grissa had heard it as saying that the Titans inside the walls would flatten the earth. And it seems the king was using it as a temporary peace as long as it worked as a deterrent. The King of the Walls agrees with the desire for Eldia's collapse, and he's taken his people with him. The king has stolen the people's memories and has made them think humanity outside the walls has perished. He's surrounded by people who he's made into his fools, and he goes on about how they're in utopia. I don't know what this vow that renounces war is supposed to be, but a king who can't even protect his own people is no king. Though I doubt he uses the name Fritz, we must find him. And that's kind of where we get that. Fritz. That's how I guess they knew that Fritz wasn't the king, and then Winslow led them to Rice. And we have to find him and take the Founding Titan from the frightened king. That is our mission. We're kind of back in the present now. Mr. Yeager then completed this mission, took the Founding Titan from the King of the Walls, and entrusted it to his son Aaron. While Mr. Kruger didn't know what the vow renouncing war was, we now know what it is. The true power of the Founding Titan can only be used if it resides inside someone from the royal bloodline. However, if the Founding Titan does not reside inside anyone of royal blood, they will be consumed by thoughts of the 145th king, leaving them with no choice but to take their own life. I dare say this is what the vow renouncing war is. Hang on, I'm going to reread this part because I think I slipped up here. Oh, I did misread that. However, if the Founding Titan does reside inside anyone of royal blood, they will be consumed by the thoughts of the 145th king, leaving them with no choice but to take their own life. I dare say that this is what the vow renouncing war is. The leadership here is I would say that if we had any way of preventing the advance of such a powerful enemy, the only one left to us would be to use the true power of the Founding Titan to activate the Wall Titans. But you're saying that it would be impossible so long as we have this vow renouncing war. Hanji knows that, however, in the past, Aaron has controlled pure Titans in order to escape perilous situations. The question of why he was only able to use it then is still unanswered, but there is a possibility that even Aaron, someone not from the royal bloodline, is able to use the Founding Titan. And as this is being explained, Aaron's thinking back to that moment. For just one moment, that day, it felt like everything was connected. But only then. Why was it only for a moment? And then the connection comes to him, because at that point he actually tried to punch the smiling Titan with his bare hand, and realized it's because he came into contact with Dina Fritz, a descendant of the royal family, which caused him to shoot up and scream out, "Could it be?" Which shocks everybody. It's Han's you surprised me. What's that with that? But Aaron just nothing. Sorry for causing the disturbance. Apologize for interrupting the meeting. Right, so he's going through some kind of phase. It's caused him to try and show off or shout for no reason. Well, he's getting to be that age, I guess. They all think he's some kind of chunibyo. But the reason Aaron held back is because he hasn't told the others yet that the Titan who killed Aaron's mother and Hans might have been his father's previous wife. And especially because if he did tell them Historia, if they turned someone from the royal bloodline into a Titan and had me consume them, there's a possibility that I could use the power of the Founding Titan. But it's only a possibility. If that possibility did exist, what would the Corps do to Historia? I could just be remembering this all wrong, In any case, this isn't the place to be talking about something that half-baked. So, he's got a kind of idea what's going on, but he's not quite sure if it's how to deal with it. And then we come up to the conclusion here. Make a family. Kruger the Owl is telling Grissa. You need a full household once you enter inside the walls. What are you talking about? I have Dina, and all my memories from before I became a Titan will disappear anyway, won't they? Not necessarily. Someone may see them later. Your wife, your child, even someone on the street, it does not matter. Love someone inside the walls. If you can't, we're doomed to repeat it all again. The same history, the same mistakes, again and again. If you want to save them all, Mikasa, Armin, and the others, carry out your mission to the end. That shocks Grissa, like Mikasa and Armin. Like, who are they? Which causes Kruger to wonder, like, who knows? Whose memories could they be? And that is where the chapter ends, with the little tagline here saying they live in endless battle. And you know what? That actually is a thought that just occurred to me here. It's like, obviously this is like meant to be some kind of weird little mind screwy thing where we're seeing um, like Grissa like get the word that there are like there's kind of a weird little time loopy memory thing going on here, that they're actually remembering stuff from the future, from Aaron's time with the Titan. But I wonder if this actually happened. If this actually happened to Grissa, I wonder what he thought when he heard the names Mikasa and Armin among people around his son. On the flip side, this could just be Aaron, or this could be Kruger or Grissa talking to Aaron through the memories. That's also a possibility. Like he's getting this himself. So at the moment, we got ourselves a nice little review of the facts that we know so far. Marley is out there. The only reason they're keeping the Eldian race alive is because they don't have access to the founding Titan, which could be problematic for them. They do wonder if it's possible for Aaron to control pure Titans. It looks like the one time he did was because he was in direct contact with a member of the royal family, which was Dina. As a result, he's wondering if that sets him up for a bit, because he doesn't know what they'll do to Historia if he actually like reveals this. On top of that, there's also the fact that he has not told him, like, yeah, guys, Mikasa, Armin, the Titan that killed my mom, the Titan that killed Hans, pretty much fucked up our lives. Might have been my dad's ex. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that conversation going down well. I mean, Mikasa already found out that Aaron's got like less than a decade left to live, and Armin will be right behind him. You know, at this point, I do see Mikasa like getting herself a Titan just to die with them at the end or something. But whatever. I mean, this was mostly just a recap of facts we already knew. The letter from Ymir was interesting, and I wonder now just when this took place for her, because I think we are under the impression that Ymir lived decades ago. So, and I think this kind of debunks my own idea that she was like the Ymir. I mean, it was never really a very likely theory in the first place, but still, always look out for it. I mean, it kind of, the way it reads to me is like they almost implies that some guy took in Ymir, gave her the name Ymir, and then tried to sell her off as the reincarnation or something of Ymir, of the original Ymir. And little Ymir wanted to make everybody happy, wanted to keep her place and everything, just kept playing the part even until the end. It's interesting that she kind of like comes to love the world after seeing so much horror of it, because once she actually wakes up as a Titan shifter, so that's interesting. And even though she seems to think she's gonna die, and everyone seems to be assuming that, I would be very surprised if this is the last we see of her. There's definitely something more to go on here. I mean, like I said, when did he give them the letter? I really do not remember that at all. So I don't know if anyone can fill in that blank for me, but I would appreciate it, like what chapter it was, because I got nothing. And right now I'm not inclined to go like trolling through the chapters just to find like maybe one panel showing it or something. Maybe another time, but not right now. Alright, so trying to think if there's anything else here. Like I said, we got like I said, I'm just a little shocked by the numbers here. Like I said, they lost 199 people and only have 9 left. Sheesh. I mean, honestly, we saw that. I mean, they lost all those guys up against the Beast Titan, but still, at the same time, they also got a lot out of it. Like they finally retook the wall for starters, so that's a big deal. They've defeated the Colossus Titan, and even took out the Beast and Armor Titans for a time. Like right now, like the only one that's active is the Pack Mule Titan. And they got all the facts from Grissa's basement at long last. So I think at this point, like we've got a lot of the mysteries that the series started with, I think have kind of been resolved. Only now we've got all the quests and things that those resolutions give us. So I think we're at the point where the next few chapters are going to kind of like start setting up the next big saga, next big arc of our story here. Because we're still in kind of like in the in-between zone at this point. So, like I said, it was nice to see Amir and Historia and all them again. I do wonder if there is a message in that letter for Historia, though. I mean, Historia didn't seem to think so, but maybe she had something like Aaron, or she wasn't sure what they would do if they realized what she was thinking of. Hmm. Alright. It's not a. Like I said, aside from my little half-baked theories and my interpretation of the Ymir flashback, I'm not sure there's really much for me to really add in there. But I'll throw this out there for you. That very final part where Kruger refers to Mikasa and Armin. What do you think that was? Because the immediate thoughts are either um, the whole coordinate thing that Aaron mentioned, where everything felt connected. Maybe like looping back around and hitting Kruger in the past, like getting the memory of one of the future holders of the Titan power rather than one of the current ones. Or could it be like the memories themselves trying to contact Aaron, which is kind of my theory, or something else entirely? Maybe I haven't even considered here. If it was something in the past, though, I do wonder what the hell did Grissa think when he saw Mikasa and Armin hanging around Aaron? Because there's, I mean, did he remember the names even? It looks like the next big thing will probably be figuring out that whole renouncement of war. Because it sounds like when the founding titan is in the hands of someone in the royal family, that past king is able to influence their thoughts more strongly. And I think we're kind of seeing a similar thing with Aaron here. Like, not so much influence, but at the same time, if there's a blood connection, blood succession between the Titan powers, there's a easier access to the thoughts. Like Aaron can easily access Grissa more than anybody else who might have had that Titan power before. While anybody who had the founding Titan, who from the Rice family, was able to get the first king. Or I suppose 145th king would be accurate at this point. And then there's what, if they can figure out the conditions for Historia and him controlling the Titans, that could make all the difference in the world. For now, though, I'm going to go ahead and cut the review at this point. We'll see what happens next month with Aaron the Chunibyo here, and see what everyone's planning here for our next adventure. Until then, we got the final chapter of Akame ga Kill and the usual Hero Academia and One Piece. So until next time, bye bye.